How many times have you made a plan to change your life? You tell yourself this time will be different. You decide to wake up early. You promise to exercise every day. You plan to eat perfectly, meditate, work harder, and become a new person in a few weeks. You write everything down. You feel motivated. You feel strong. And then, it falls apart. Maybe it lasts a few days. Maybe a week if you push hard. But soon, you miss one morning. Then one workout. Then one promise. And after that, everything collapses. You tell yourself you were too tired, too busy. You say you'll start again on Monday, or next month, or next year. But deep down, you already know the truth. You've been here before. This isn't your first plan. It's not your second either. It's the same cycle repeating again and again. Big goals, big promises, big energy at the start, then silence. The problem isn't that you don't know what to do. You know exactly what to do. Work out, eat better, focus, be consistent. The problem is that you don't do it for long. Every time you quit, something inside you breaks a little. You stop trusting yourself. You stop believing your own words. You start to think maybe you're just lazy. Maybe you lack discipline. Maybe something is wrong with you. And that thought hurts more than failure itself. So you try to fix it by doing more. More habits, more rules, more pressure. You stack your routine until it feels impossible. 5 a.m. wake-ups, cold showers, perfect diets, long workouts, 0 mistakes. You try to change everything at once. And once again, it doesn't last. Here's the uncomfortable truth. This problem is not new. It didn't start with social media. It didn't start with modern life. People have struggled with discipline for hundreds of years. Long before phones. Long before gyms. Long before productivity apps. The tools changed. Human nature didn't. People still make promises. People still break them. People still confuse motivation with discipline. So the question is not whether you want to change. You do. The real question is this: why does this keep happening to you? And more importantly, what if the way you've been taught to build discipline is completely wrong? To answer that, we need to go back. Not to today, not to modern advice, but to a lesson learned hundreds of years ago. Northern Japan, spring year 1592. A young warrior named Haruto knelt in the dirt. His face was pressed to the ground. Blood slowly dripped from his nose. He was 24 years old. He was training to become a samurai, and he had just been shamed in front of everyone. The fight ended almost as soon as it began. It lasted only a few seconds. His opponent was younger, less experienced, but stronger in that moment. With one fast move, Haruto lost his sword. The wooden blade struck his face. The sound echoed through the training hall. The other students stood still. No one spoke. Everyone saw what happened. At the edge of the room, the master watched. He said nothing. His face showed quiet disappointment. This was not new. Haruto had talent. He was quick. He moved well. His body was strong. But talent was not enough. He would wake up full of fire. "I will train for hours today," he told himself. "I will become a true warrior." For 2 days he pushed hard. Long training. No rest. Then the 3rd day came. He slept late. He skipped practice. He said his body needed rest. And just like before, the promise broke. This happened again and again. Strong starts. Weak endings. The other students noticed. They stopped respecting him. They whispered when he passed. He became known for one thing: potential without results. But the worst voice was inside his own head. Each broken promise said the same thing: you cannot trust yourself. When things get hard, you quit. That truth hurt more than the strike to his face. After the fight, the hall emptied. Haruto stayed behind. He sat alone on the wooden floor. His head was in his hands. His body ached. His heart felt heavy. He wondered if this was the end. Maybe he was not meant for this life. Maybe he should give up. Footsteps broke the silence. The master stood before him, calm, Still. Stand, he said. Haruto rose slowly. He did not look up. You fail for a reason, the master said. Haruto spoke in a low voice. I have no discipline. The master paused. That is not true, he replied. Haruto looked up, confused. And in that moment, something shifted. The failure was not over yet. But the lesson was about to begin. The master looked at Haruto carefully. Not with anger. Not with shame. With understanding. You think you fail because you lack discipline, he said. But that is not the real problem. Haruto stayed silent. You have the same discipline as every other student here, the master continued. The difference is that you don't know how to build it. Haruto felt confused. He had always believed discipline was something you either had or didn't have. The master stepped closer. Discipline is not a gift, he said. It is not something you are born with. It is something you build. Haruto thought about his past weeks, his strong starts, his fast failures. I try hard, Haruto said. I push myself. Yes, the master replied. And that is why you fail. Haruto looked up, surprised. You start with huge plans, the master said. Long hours, no rest, perfect effort. But after a few days, your body breaks. Your mind gets tired, and you stop. The master paused. When that happens, he said, what do you learn about yourself? Haruto swallowed. He knew the answer. I learn that I quit, he said quietly. The master nodded. Every time you stop, he said, you teach yourself something dangerous. You teach yourself that your words mean nothing, that your promises are weak, that you cannot be trusted. That truth hit hard. Haruto had talent. Everyone knew that. But talent without consistency led nowhere. One strong day meant nothing. 2 strong days meant nothing. Because they were always followed by 0. And 0 was the real problem. Each time he skipped training, a voice spoke inside him. You'll start again tomorrow. You deserve rest. One day won't matter. But deep down, another voice answered. This always ends the same. That voice scared him the most. I can't trust myself, Haruto thought. The master saw it on his face. You are trying to become someone else overnight, he said. That is why you collapse. You are trying to build a castle, he continued. Before laying a single stone, the master turned and began to walk. Come with me, he said calmly. Haruto followed. He didn't know where they were going. But for the first time, he felt something different. Not hope, not motivation, guidance. The master led Haruto into a small, quiet room. The air felt still. The noise of the training hall faded away. He pointed to the floor and spoke slowly. Discipline is like a muscle, he said. If you never train it, it stays weak. If you try to lift too much at once, it breaks. Haruto listened closely. You believe discipline is something you either have or don't have, the master continued. That belief is wrong. Discipline is built, he said. Small action by small action. Day by day. Haruto thought about his habits. Big plans, big effort, big failure. You try to do everything at once, the master said. You wake up with huge goals. Train for many hours. Push until your body is empty. The master shook his head. By the 3rd day, you are exhausted, he said. So you stop. He looked directly at Haruto. That is not strength, he said. That is overambition. The master paused, then continued. You are trying to build a castle, he said, but you have not laid even one stone. Haruto understood. A castle cannot stand without a base. No matter how strong the walls look. Each time you quit, the master said, the castle collapses, and you blame yourself. But the problem is not you, he said. The problem is the way you are trying to change. Haruto felt his chest tighten. This was different from what he expected. You do not need more motivation, the master said. You do not need more pressure. You need a system, he said. One that is small enough to never fail. The master turned toward the door. "Come," he said calmly. "I will show you how discipline is truly built." Haruto followed. He did not know what would happen next. But for the first time, the path felt clear. The master stopped in front of an old wall. A long scroll hung there, worn with age. Black ink covered the paper. The words were simple, but they felt heavy. "These were taught to me by my own master," he said. "More than 40 years ago." Haruto stepped closer. "These principles changed my life," the master continued. "They turned me from an undisciplined boy into a true warrior." He pointed to the first line. "Shikō," he said, "supreme consistency." Then the second, "Kantan," radical simplicity. The third, "Kūkan," sacred space. The fourth, "Kiroku," the record. And finally the fifth, "Shinnen," unwavering conviction. Haruto listened in silence. "These are not ideas," the master said. "They are practices. They do not work through motivation," he continued. "They work through identity." Haruto felt something shift inside him. "These principles build discipline so strong," the master said. "It becomes who you are." He turned to Haruto. "You will not learn them all at once," he said. "You will learn them one by one. Each principle will be practiced daily," he added. "Starting so small that failure is impossible." Haruto frowned. "So small?" he asked. "How small?" The master smiled slightly. "Meet me here tomorrow at dawn," he said. "I will show you." Haruto looked back at the scroll. 5 principles. 1 path. He did not fully understand them yet, but he felt their weight. As the master turned to leave, he spoke once more. "Tomorrow," he said calmly, "we begin with the first." And without another word, he walked away. Haruto remained standing there, alone, facing the scroll. For the first time, discipline no longer felt like a mystery. It felt like a map. The next morning, Haruto arrived before the sun. The sky was just turning orange. The training hall was quiet, except for the soft sound of his footsteps. The master stood waiting, calm and still. "Pick up your bakken," he said. Haruto grabbed the wooden sword and held it carefully. "Start with 50 overhead cuts," the master instructed. "Exactly 50. Proper form. No more, no less." Haruto began. By the 30th cut, his arms were shaking. By the 45th, his muscles burned like fire. But he reached 50. "Now 50 defensive stances," the master said. His legs trembled, but he finished them all. "Now 50 thrusts," the master added. Each movement precise, controlled, deliberate. By the end, he was drenched in sweat. 12 minutes had passed. "Done," the master said quietly. "That is your daily practice." Haruto frowned. "Just 12 minutes?" He asked. "How can I become a great warrior with such a short practice?" The master stepped closer. "Tell me, Haruto," he said. "How many hours did you train last week?" Haruto calculated in his head. Monday, 6 hours. Tuesday, 4 hours. Wednesday, 0. Thursday, 0. Friday, 2 hours. Total, 12 hours spread across 5 days. "And how many weeks in 3 months did you train every single day?" the master asked. Haruto was silent. The answer, 0. "That is Shikō," the master said. "Supreme consistency. Small daily action done without fail. Better 12 minutes every day than 6 hours once a week." He leaned closer. "Why?" he asked. "Because consistency builds identity. It proves who you are. When you train 6 hours one day, your body collapses the next." "And what does that teach you?" Haruto thought. "That I quit," he whispered. "Exactly," the master said. "But when you train 12 minutes every day, even when tired, even when you do not want to, you prove something else." He gestured to himself. "I have trained every day for 43 years. Not 6 hours. Not when motivated. 12 minutes minimum. Some days more. Never 0. Haruto looked at the master, absorbing every word. Your practice, the master said. 50 overhead cuts, 50 stances, 50 thrusts. Every dawn, no excuses. Never zero. That is the foundation. The master stepped back. Supreme consistency beats occasional intensity. Always. He paused, then asked directly, "Can you commit to 12 minutes every single day for 30 days? Haruto met the gaze of his master. He felt the weight of the question. If he could not do 12 minutes, he could not do anything. Tomorrow, the first test would begin. Haruto woke before dawn on the first day. The sky was still dark. He walked to the training hall and stepped onto his sacred spot. 50 overhead cuts, 50 stances, 50 thrusts, 12 minutes. Done. Day 2 came. Every muscle ached. His arms trembled. His legs burned. He almost stayed in bed. He thought about excuses. Today is too hard, he told himself. My body needs rest. But he remembered the master's words. Never zero. Every day, no matter what. So he got up. He trained. Slowly, weakly, but completely. Day 3 arrived. The day most people quit. The danger day. Excuses whispered louder than before. Skip today. You'll recover tomorrow. No one will know. Haruto felt every temptation. But deeper inside, a voice reminded him of why he started. He could not break his promise to himself. He went through the practice again. Slower, shakier, not perfect. But done. Days 4 through 7 were a mixture of strength and weakness. Some mornings he moved quickly. Other mornings, every cut and stance felt heavy. Yet he showed up, every single day. And slowly, something began to change. By the end of the week, his body moved more naturally. The stances felt stable. The strikes flowed. His mind started to feel different. For the first time, he looked forward to training. Not because it was easy, not because it was fun, because it was the one promise he kept to himself. I show up, he realized. I keep my word. I am reliable. That evening, the master approached. You've completed 7 days, he said quietly. Longer than anything you've done before. How do you feel? Haruto thought carefully. Different, he said. I felt like I am becoming someone else. You are, the master said. You are becoming someone who keeps promises. That is the identity of a warrior. Haruto's eyes followed the master as he walked away. A new thought formed in his mind. He wanted more. Not more hours. Not more intensity. More mastery. And with that desire, the next lesson awaited. Week 2 began. Haruto completed his daily practice. 50 overhead cuts. 50 stances. 50 thrusts. Every movement was becoming smoother, more natural. The master watched quietly. You are improving, he said. But I see your mind wandering. You are thinking about adding more techniques. More complexity. More variety. Haruto nodded. He wanted to progress faster. To master everything at once. The master picked up his bakken. He performed a single overhead cut. Perfect. Fluid. Powerful. Then again. And again. 10 times. Every cut identical. See this? The master asked. I have repeated this cut thousands of times. Maybe tens of thousands. And yet I do not tire of it. I do not need more techniques. I have mastered this one. Haruto frowned. But I thought mastering many moves made me stronger, he said. The master shook his head. No. Radical simplicity is the key. You do not master complexity. You master a few movements until they are extraordinary. He gestured to Haruto. You are learning 3 movements. These 3 contain everything you need. But instead of mastering these fully, your mind wants more. Why? Because simple feels too small, too easy. But that is an illusion. The true path is repetition. Refine each cut. Perfect each stance. Each movement repeated until it becomes second nature. Until it transcends technique itself. Haruto absorbed every word. He began to understand. Mastery was not about quantity, it was about depth. Continue your practice, the master instructed. Do not add anything. Do not rush. Make each cut cleaner, each stance firmer. Let simplicity shape your power. Haruto took a deep breath. He picked up his sword. The movements that had once felt routine now demanded focus. Every cut, every stance, every thrust became deliberate. And in that moment he realized, mastery did not come from doing more. It came from doing less, but doing it perfectly. Tomorrow, the lesson would shift again, from actions to the space around him. Week 3 arrived. Haruto stepped onto the training floor. The movements were now familiar. The cuts flowed. The stances held strong. The thrusts were controlled. The master approached quietly. "Haruto," he said, "where do you train?" "This spot, sensei," Haruto replied. "Exactly where?" the master asked. Haruto hesitated. He had practiced in slightly different places each morning. The master shook his head slowly. "Kūkan," he said, "sacred space. This is the third principle." He led Haruto to a worn section of the floor. "The place where I train every morning," the master said, "for over 40 years. This exact spot." Haruto looked down at the wood, lighter in color from years of practice. "Why this place?" he asked. "Because space shapes identity," the master explained. "When you move from place to place, your mind does not form strong associations. You become a traveler in your own practice. But when you train in the same space at the same time every day, that space becomes sacred. When you step onto it, your mind knows, 'I am a warrior.'" Haruto nodded slowly. He understood that his environment could anchor his identity. Every morning, stepping onto this exact spot would signal his mind to shift. "Tomorrow, choose your sacred spot," the master said. "Train there, same time, same place, every day. Let it become yours. Let it carry you into focus." Haruto could feel the weight of the space beneath his feet. It was more than wood. It was ritual. It was signal. It was transformation waiting to happen. With that, the master turned and gestured to a small book. "The next step," he said, "is to record everything. Tracking reveals truth." Haruto's mind shifted from the space to the actions he would write down. Sacred space had anchored him, and now the record would solidify his progress. The master held a small, worn book in his hands. "Haruto," he said, "have you ever written down your training?" "No, sensei," Haruto replied. "Then your training is blind," the master said. "You rely on memory, on feelings. But memory lies. Feelings lie. Only the record tells the truth." He opened the book. Pages were filled with dates, numbers, and notes. "Every session I practiced for 43 years, he explained. "What I did, how many repetitions, what I learned. This is proof. Proof of consistency. Proof of dedication. Proof of identity." Haruto looked at the pages. He understood immediately. Numbers cannot cheat. Dates cannot argue. The record does not excuse. "Tracking your practice," the master said, "reveals patterns. When you skip, when you make excuses, it keeps you honest. It holds you accountable." He handed the book to Haruto. "Start today," he said. "Write everything down. The date, what you practiced, how it felt, what you learned. What gets measured gets mastered. Always." Haruto opened the book and felt a weight of responsibility. No more excuses. No more relying on memory. No more, "I think I did enough." This was accountability in its purest form. Every session mattered. Every note mattered. Every day built proof of who he was becoming. The master closed the book gently. "The final test is coming," he said. "Soon your body will ache. Your mind will beg you to quit. But with a record, you cannot hide. The truth is written in front of you." Haruto nodded, gripping the pen tightly. The ultimate challenge was approaching, and now he would have no choice but to face it. It was day 31. Haruto woke before dawn. His body ached. Fever burned through him. His mind felt foggy and weak. He lay in bed. Every instinct told him to stay. "Rest today," he whispered. "Everyone would understand. You are sick." But then he remembered the master's words. Never zero. Not just the words. The meaning behind them. He thought back to his first humiliation. The moment he was disarmed and struck. The shame. The doubt. The feeling of being someone whose word meant nothing. "I refuse to be that person again," he thought. "I refuse to be someone who quits. Someone who cannot be trusted." With effort he rose. He walked to the dojo. He stepped onto his sacred spot. The familiar wood beneath his feet grounded him. 50 overhead cuts. 50 stances. 50 thrusts. Slower, weaker than usual, but complete. When he finished, he collapsed to the floor, exhausted. But inside, something burned brighter. Determination. Identity. Conviction. The master appeared quietly. "Today, you learned Shinnen," he said. "Your why is stronger than your how hard. When your body fails, when excuses are everywhere, your conviction carries you through." Haruto breathed heavily, sweat and fever mixing. He understood. Discipline was not about strength, not about motivation. It was about who he chose to be. These 5 principles, Shikō, Kantan, Kūkan, Kiroku, Shinnen, built a foundation that could never break. Small actions, simplicity, sacred space, tracking, deep conviction. They anchored identity, not effort. Haruto had trained 31 consecutive days. He had proven he could keep one promise. And now he understood this was just the beginning. Tomorrow and every day after, he would continue. Because discipline was a path, and warriors walk that path every single day. 3 months had passed. Haruto woke before dawn as always. He walked to the dojo. The sacred spot was waiting. 50 overhead cuts. 50 stances. 50 thrusts. 12 minutes. Done. But something had changed. He no longer thought about each movement. His body moved automatically like breathing. The discipline had become part of him. That afternoon, he faced the same opponent who had humiliated him months ago. The sparring match began. It lasted 30 seconds. 3 clean moves. Haruto disarmed his opponent effortlessly. The dojo erupted in quiet awe. Respect was earned, not shouted. Haruto felt nothing. No pride. No ego. Only presence. The moment was all that mattered. The master approached. "You have transformed," he said softly. "Your body has improved, but your mind is what truly changed. You no longer seek validation. You simply are who you are. A warrior." Haruto nodded. He understood that strength alone meant nothing. Consistency, simplicity, sacred space, recording, and deep conviction, these were the true tools of mastery. 3 months of small daily actions had become a habit, an identity. He had become the person he was meant to be. And tomorrow and the day after, the practice would continue. Because transformation is not a moment. It is a process. And those who walk it daily never stop. Haruto stood alone on the sacred floor. He looked at the place he had trained every morning for 3 months. The master's words echoed in his mind. Discipline is not built through motivation, he remembered. It is built through identity. Every small action, every single day, had proved something important. Not just skill, not just strength, who he was. Reliable, unbreakable. Haruto thought of the 5 principles. Shikō, supreme consistency. Kantan, radical simplicity. Kūkan, sacred space. Kiroku, the record. Shinnen, unwavering conviction. Each principle was no longer a lesson. It was law, the foundation of every action. He remembered the humiliation, the excuses, the early failures. He remembered the fevered mornings, the temptation to quit. And he saw clearly now, the principles worked. They always worked. They had always worked. In futile times. Today, tomorrow, discipline was not a gift. It was proof of identity. showing up, keeping promises, doing the work. Haruto knew what came next. These truths were not his alone. They were meant to be passed forward. Someone else would come, broken, lost, unable to keep their word. And he would teach them the 5 principles, the path, the daily practice, the unbreakable identity, all waiting for the next warrior ready to show up. Years later, a young student approached Haruto in the dojo. "Master Haruto," the student said quietly, "I keep failing. I make promises to myself and break them. I lack discipline. How do I change?" Haruto looked at the student carefully. He saw himself broken and humiliated 20 years ago. He led the student to the sacred spot. "Tomorrow morning, meet me here at dawn," he said. "I will teach you the 5 principles. The same principles my master taught me. The principles that changed my life." The student bowed. "What will I learn, sensei?" he asked. "You will learn this," Haruto replied. "Discipline is not something you have or do not have. It is something you build, one small action at a time, one promise kept at a time. You will learn supreme consistency, radical simplicity, sacred space, the record, unwavering conviction. And most importantly, you will learn this. You do not need to become a different person overnight. You just need to prove to yourself once that you can keep one promise for 30 days. If you do, everything else follows. That proof builds everything else. Your identity, your strength, your reliability." The student looked uncertain. "Just one promise?" he asked. "That seems too simple." Haruto smiled. "That is what I thought 20 years ago. And my master told me the same thing I am telling you now. Simple is the only thing that works. Come back tomorrow. Dawn. We train." The student left, bowing deeply. Haruto stood alone, picked up his bakken, and began his daily practice. 50 overhead cuts, 50 stances, 50 thrusts, 20 years, 7,300 days. Not one missed, not one zero. Warriors show up every single day, no matter what. Now it is your turn. What is your one promise? What is your daily practice? What are you committing to starting tomorrow? Write it down. Make it public. Make it real. Transformation does not start someday. It starts tomorrow morning at dawn. When you show up, when you do the work, walk with discipline, train with purpose, become unbreakable.